Hello Creative Tartanites and welcome to Time Lapse Tuesday. Today I'm demonstrating how I created my ink and acrylic portrait piece. As you can see, I have my reference photo to the left and my artwork to the right. I've started off using a lyra water-soluble graphite crayon. I'm using this for two reasons. Reason number one, I didn't want to be particularly precious about my drawing. It's really about getting in guidelines rather than an accurate drawing. This is not what this particular piece is about. It's also water soluble, so it means that I can go in and I can actually, as I'm doing now, create a shadow effect by activating the graphite. There I go again, stumbling over my words like I did in my last video. The other thing that you may have noticed that I was doing was actually using a bigger brush. This helps again to keep loose. I'm now adding onto the paper acrylic ink in Paynes Grey. I'm using the little pipette to actually put it onto the paper and then using the brush to brush it around to cover the paper. I don't know if it's all that noticeable, but I also used purple as well. You can just see down the bottom right hand corner that it's a little bit more purpley than it is Paynes Grey. So I go backwards and forwards from putting on the Paynes Grey and the purple, and it's really just to get that dark colour and deepen up the blackness, but without it being black. I'm now going in with the acrylic paint. I'm really looking to do that painterly effect. And I think it's worth kind of pointing out now that, you know, it's kind of looking a little bit of a mess just now, but, you know, stick with me and you will see it transform. The other thing I want to mention, because as I was actually editing the footage, I did notice as I was watching it that even I was cringing at some of the placements of the lips, for example, and the actual size of the nose. I started to notice that it wasn't really quite in the right place. You know, I mention this because I think it's worth letting people know that it is okay to not copy the reference photo exactly. If you're wanting to copy it exactly, then fine. Be aware of the potential for mistakes, and you know, look a little bit more carefully at where the placements are. Take your time and use whatever tools or techniques that will help you to get it accurate. For me, when I was drawing and initially painting this painting, I was actually in a seated position. It's not something that I do that regularly, paint when I'm sitting down, because I really prefer to paint standing up. And when I'm painting standing up at my easel, I'm more likely to step back. And it's that step back that actually helps you to identify where you've misplaced things. And that's why when I was drawing it, I wasn't noticing as badly where things weren't accurate, because I was still sitting too close to the artwork itself, and it wasn't until I was editing the footage that I noticed from a distance, because that's the reality that you're creating when you're watching it back, that things were so misplaced. As I said, I do work it out, I do get it looking, you know, reasonably okay again. It doesn't look like the picture, but that was never my intention. My intent behind this painting was to practice my working loose, to get a very painterly look to my artwork. And the reason that I thought it was good to let people know is because all too often I do hear artists will ask the question, how can I paint more loosely? I would love to be able to paint more loosely, but I just can't. And I think we fear things looking bad, or looking messy, or not quite looking right. And the problem with that is that, you know, when we're painting, we are close up to the painting. And, you know, loose paintings do look messy when you're close up. If anybody's ever been to an art museum and they see the loose styles, you know, if you're able to get closer to the work, have a look and you will see it's supposed to be messy close up. You are supposed to appreciate art from a distance. The only time that people like to see things close up and get that wow factor is when it's more hyper realistic. You know, and whilst it might not be the kind of technique of my choice, it's not something that I enjoy painting, is hyper realistic. And some of that, I'll be honest, some of that is because I don't have the patience to sit for hours and hours to get all these minute details. But I can appreciate when other artists do it, because I do go, wow, that's amazing. But that's not necessarily what I enjoy painting myself. And this particular painting, as I said, was really more about practicing my expression within the painting rather than just simply copying a reference photo. Is any of what I've been talking about relatable? You know, let's have a discussion in the comments. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your thoughts about painting loose and how you manage it, or, you know, is this something that you think that you can start to put into your practice to be able to work on painting loose? Let me know in the comments. Perhaps between the potential conversation that could be happening in the comments right now and the conversation that I'm obviously having on the video, hopefully there has been something that has resonated with you, that has been helpful to you. I know that I have been in a position where I have been painting and thought that really doesn't look right and just felt really uncomfortable, and it was simply because I hadn't taken a step back. Because the moment I take a step back, I start to appreciate that actually it's only because I'm too close looking at it that it doesn't look right. And that's what's helped me to really embrace being able to paint much looser and much more expressively, rather than, you know, very tight and very, very well rendered. For the most part, I've pretty much stuck with the brush that you can see me using just now. I don't know what size it is. I bought it and I can't remember where I bought it. There's no size on it. It feels like the bristles are shorter, so I suspect it's a bright rather than a flat brush. And I've used a slightly smaller brush, which is the one that you see me using now, which is one of my Art Sherpa Cats tongues. And the other brush that I've used has been the round brush. I did just a few details with the round brush, but overall I've essentially tried to keep with the slightly bigger brushes, again to try and keep that painterly look. We've now just jumped rather suddenly, sorry about that, onto the second session. You can see that the camera's set up just a little bit differently. Slightly different lighting is because I had done this on 2 different days. I'm really just going back in and just adding a little bit more layering, just trying to get the fullness of the face I'm trying not to take out the brush strokes, trying to keep them in as much as I can, but I was really trying to although not get accurate to the photograph, because as I said previously, that's never my intention with this. I did still want it to look like a face and look like the features were in the correct place. So that's really what I'm doing now, is just making sure that it looks okay. Now, we're coming to the end of the video, so I really want to say thank you very much. If you've liked this video, please give me the thumbs up. It really does help. If you haven't already done so and would like to, please subscribe, and that way you'll get notifications of videos when they go up. I have actually lost the footage where I actually add the freckles, but I do add them, and you will see that in the photograph that I share of the finished piece at the end. So thank you. Don't forget, look after your mental well-being, because nobody else can. Take care everybody, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now!